Hello and welcome to the next video of my MSI 2024 series where we cover the final day of play-ins between these four teams. Winners go on to the main event, losers go home. In the first series, we had PSG and FlyQuest. PSG from the PCS would beat FlyQuest, the North American 2-seed 2-0. A lot of people shocked by this. I'm not overly surprised, given that I actually had thought PSG would beat FlyQuest the first time they played, which was wrong because Fly won that one 2-1. And in that series, PSG won game one, and then in game two actually took a Baron, stole a Baron, and Bwippo saved FlyQuest's ass off of that, and Fly won game three. So is this a massive surprise? No. Did I pick Fly to win this one? Yes. I mean, it is what it is. This was definitely the matchup that was going to be the closest between the minor region teams and the major region teams to go to the main event. This is the first time that somebody not from Europe did not get into the main event from a major region at an international tournament, Worlds or the mid-season invitational. Now, of course, because this is Mickey Mouse, Worlds does matter more. So as far as I'm concerned, the LCS would still have to miss Worlds 2 more times to be quite as awful as the LEC when it comes to just not making tournaments to main events. But, that'll ruffle some feathers. So that's exactly why I said it. Now, game one between PSG Fly, slow game. PSG would go mid lane twice. FlyQuest go top and bot once. The lead that Maple got would then be carried through the mid to late game. Maple was excellent in this series, the difference maker on the Azir and then the Aurelion Sol. A complete menace on the Aurelion Sol, actually, in game two. They could not get their hands on him, FlyQuest, that is. Clearly, FlyQuest playing the top side again, but Bwippo was just not on it quite like he was the first series. Game two on the Renekton, that was disgusting. But I should be going one game at a time here. So, laning phase ended at 15 minutes. We saw a 1K gold lead in the jungle for Junjia over Inspired. That's huge because, frankly, Inspired did not get a lot of plays off to offset that, right? So, when you have the early game and one jungler's farming, the other jungler facilitating, you have to facilitate a lead for somebody to offset that 1K lead. So, Bwippo was up 1K gold, 17 CS, but Bwippo was unable to do anything with it. They went up top side trying to get Aja, I guess is actually how you're supposed to pronounce it, Aja behind, and it didn't end up really working all that well. He got Rumble in both games, which I think is a massive blunder by the coaching staff. Rumble, we'll look at it tomorrow when I do my video in regards to the play-in stage. But Rumble is a very powerful pick in the top lane, a difference-making sort of pick that can allow a top laner to carry harder than I believe any other champion in the role right now. So giving that both games I think was silly. And in the end, he led the team in damage with 24%. That kind of shows you the even damage spread that PSG had in this series, that the leader had just under 1/4 of the damage. So it was Bwippo versus Junjia, and Junjia is just doing a lot more work. Junjia played a great series. Early game, they split grubs. That happened a lot today. So instead of teams trading grubs for Drake straight up, we saw grubs being traded 3-3 to prevent void mites and things of that nature. PSG would take quite a few Drakes, 8-1 in this series. And then power plays, they were 2-1, 2-0. So PSG were just securing objectives, and FlyQuest simply were not. And not only were they not, but they also were not getting as much work done. They were not getting their teammates ahead. Like hell, in game one, Betty on the Senna makes a roam mid. Stuff like that was happening. In game two, 10 minutes laning phase ends. So, shorter laning phase, but PSG's bot lane has a 1.4k gold lead at that point. Betty and Woody are online. And FlyQuest, sure, they have a 300 gold lead in the jungle for Inspired, 13 CS. I think he was on a Viego, but hell. The game got a little messy, but that's not enough of a lead to offset what's occurred with the lane swaps and etc. So, in game two, we saw PSG go bot lane twice. That certainly helped their bot side of the rift. For Drake Prio, with that, you're constantly taking Drakes afterwards. So overall in this series, PSG made 5 plays, FlyQuest made 3. Grubs were split 6-6, but PSG got both Rift Heralds. PSG took 8 Drakes to 1, and they averaged about 2,800 gold for 2 Barons. Aja led the team in damage, like I said, going 6'5", 18, 24%. Woody, 6'1", 22 at the best. KDA on the team at support. Jensen, 154, 29% of damage in the loss. Watching this series, I struggled to figure out who to place blame on because I think everybody played like crap. Everybody played below their level for FlyQuest. I'm very happy for PSG and Maple. Seeing Maple be able to go to a main event at an international again is a great sight to behold because he is one of the best minor region players ever, in my opinion. And a lot of people looking at his recent results on Anyone's Legend and TSM and probably think that he's not major region quality. No, he is still a very, very, very good player. And like that kind of goes to show you, though, right? Maple, a veteran, showed up in the moment. He understood the moment. He took it upon himself. Betty in the bot lane as well. Where FlyQuest Bwippo inspired Jensen, even Jensen said after the series, I think we disrespected PSG. We didn't take a lot from that first series when we beat them. And it's like, that, I mean, some people are making it sound like it's cope. I don't think that's cope at all. I think that's a very strong possibility. There are big egos on FlyQuest. And the younger players on the bot lane are just going to go with what the leadership is going with. If the leadership is high on themselves, then the bot lane's going to be high on themselves. They're gonna follow what the veterans are doing, the ones that have been there, done that. Coaching staff, another big thing here. When we think about disrespecting your opponent, when you think about maybe not properly getting anything out of the previous series, you have a first-time coach at an international event in Nuke Duck. And honestly, I don't know how many international events he went to as a player. I think he may have went to Worlds once. Could be wrong. Could be wrong about that. But as a coach, he certainly didn't. He was a 100 Thieves coach last year. And you know, that could be a problem too. Like a coach dip. Like I said, Rumble should not have been up in both of these games. It really shouldn't have. So PSG win 2-0. Not super surprised by this. Going into this tournament, you know, I had FlyQuest as the 7th of the top 8 teams. I thought they'd get to the main event and be better than Team Liquid. Hell, that means I thought they'd be better than PSG Talon. But, you know, the bot lane struggled. The team disrespected their opponent. And, well, they paid the price. Losing to what, I mean, if you include Flash Wolves, is probably the best minor region franchise in LOL esports all time. So that's just the deal with that. Now, Fnatic and GAM. Game 1, an absolute blowout by Fnatic, and then Game 2, it was a slugfest. GAM responded. They did not go out quietly. So Game 1, at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, we had our first turret fall. Bot duo ahead heavily for Fnatic. They had made a couple trips bot side, got Noah and June in a good spot, and Noah and June took the bull by the horns, and they rode it to a early victory. So 1.9k gold lead for them, and a 24 CS lead off of that. Kiaya in top lane, only a 10 CS lead and 200 gold on the opposite side of the rift, so not getting as much done there. Gam actually not getting any plays off. Levi leaving a little bit to be desired. So he's only behind 5 CS, but now hell, I mean, where's your offset of that advantage created by Fnatic in the early game? So Grubs were split 3-3, Drake's 4-1, and a 4,400 gold lead for Fnatic off of the Baron. That's me taking what the power play last showed me. You know, replays. God, one thing I'd really love to advocate for is a replay free VOD. Replay free broadcast. If you're watching the damn thing, I don't need to watch a replay, and I can go back and look at it if I want to. I'm just not a big replay guy. I'd rather just know what the hell they got off the power play, not what happened the last 50 seconds of the power play when I'm watching a replay is not my thing. So Fnatic, I mean, they blew him out. That the lead for Noah in June was too much. GAM really didn't have much going for themselves. But in game 2, it was a lot closer. So Fnatic would go topside a couple times trying to help get some advantages up there. They'd go mid. GAM responded, going top and bot themselves. Easy Love was very good in this series on the Zeri. But the game. Keeping up with Noah when Noah was going off on the Lucian Nami bot lane was strong. June had some well-timed bubbles, some nice waves. Razork, nice engages. Ari charms by Humanoid. Oscar actually playing very well on the Ornn. I thought that he played one of his better games we've seen in a long time. This 2-game set, he was, very good. He only died twice. Now, GAM, though, as this game went along, they were taking Drakes in the early game. They got themselves into Soul Point very early on into the mid-game. Fnatic then were able to kind of push them off, and it was neck and neck for what felt like forever. I think game 2 was 43 minutes long. GAM had a gold lead honestly, GAM probably had a gold lead longer than Fnatic did in this game. They played very well. Kiaya on the Rumble. Dealing some damage, layering it down. If I recall, I think he played Rumble in game 2. So at 15 minutes when laning phase ended, Kiaya and top lane had a 1.3k gold lead, Levi 800. So you want those two players ahead for GAM. Fnatic are content with the bot duo ahead a bit, but frankly it was pretty even. It was pretty even. But once the team fights began, Noah stepped up. So we see Lucians, and especially Eastern Lucians, they go forward, right, instead of going backward or side to side. And he went forward, and he got after it. He got after GAM, and made sure that kills were being secured. And that resulted in GAM able to, pop him back and beat up on Fnatic as well. In game 2, actually, GAM got the first Baron, and it was positive at 1090. And then when Fnatic got their Baron, they actually screwed it up at the end, getting killed a couple times. Easy Love getting, I think, some shutdowns on the Zeri, and that actually gave a negative power play when you do 1525 as the baseline. Fnatic actually came out negative 756. Like, they got 1525 when they smited it, and then lost 756 of that by the time it was done. So not great in that angle. That was the worst Baron, I think, at this tournament thus far, and they have the best one as well. They had like an 8400 gold Baron against GAM in their first set of games. Early game split grubs, 4-2 in Drakes. Like I said, GAM prioritizing Drakes in the early game. That allowed them to have some power to kind of play macro and decide what they wanted to do when they did win a team fight. And but in the end, Fnatic won the team fights that mattered in the very, very late game. And it was because of Noah. And it was because of Oscar's engages, Humanoid's charms, and etc. Excuse me. In this one, Fnatic would make 5 plays, GAM would make 2. Grubs were split 6-6, but Fnatic took both Heralds. Drake 6-5 in favor of Fnatic. Barons, Fnatic averaged 1,800 gold over 2 Barons. GAM 1,100 roughly with their 1. Noah 28, 6 and 16, 35% of damage in the win. 28 kills in 2 games is a lot. Oscarinin best KDA at 3,227. Easy Love 6-9, 14, 32% of damage in the loss for GAM. So GAM go home, but they did not go home where we thought they would. They actually outperformed my expectations, beating Loud yesterday. So they, especially Easy Love and Emo. Hopefully Emo gets an opportunity with somebody in summer in Vietnam, whether that is still with GAM or elsewhere. And Easy Love, who knows? Maybe revitalize his career, give himself an opportunity at a second wind. So Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And hope to see you again tomorrow.